Making the leap from a military career to the corporate world, now that is a monumental shift. Today, we're going to dive into the real, honest story of one veteran's 18-year journey, and trust me, he learned some pretty unexpected lessons along the way. So, this story comes from a fantastic new feature called Mission Accomplished. It's in the ForceNet E-Zine, which is put out by the Forces Network. The whole idea is for veterans to share their corporate war stories so that the entire community can learn together. And we get to look at the very first one. And it all kicks off with this incredibly honest quote from Lt Col Vivek Bhatt. Wow. This one sentence just perfectly captures that feeling so many veterans have right at the start. An assumption that, as we're about to see, gets challenged in a big way. All right, let's get into it. First up, the reality check. This is where that initial culture shock really hits right after leaving the service. So let's set the stage. After a distinguished 21-year career, Lt Col Bhatt decides to start his next chapter at age 42. Now, he's got deep technical experience, a master's degree, he's got grit. He felt totally prepared. What could go wrong, right? Well, this is where the first big disconnect happens. The expectation was, my network will help me, my skills are an obvious fit. The reality? It was a whole different ballgame. The job hunt was basically a solo mission, and success wasn't just about expertise, it was about sales. He does land his first role thanks to a recommendation, and technically, he was brilliant. He helped develop a fantastic product. But then came the sales pressure, something that was totally new to him. He quickly realized that for the company, the number one goal was turning every bit of effort into business. That initial struggle led to a really critical turning point. He understood pretty fast that to make it, he was going to have to learn a whole new set of rules and, earn his stripes all over again, this time in a corporate uniform. So he starts looking for a job that isn't all about sales. He interviews for a project management role where a former senior from the service was in charge of hiring. He thought, this is it, it's a sure thing, but he didn't get the offer. When he asked why, he got this one crucial piece of feedback. His profile was missing a key certification. And that was the light bulb moment. He realized that it didn't matter how much on-the-ground experience he had. The industry uses certifications as a kind of filter. So what does he do? He takes immediate action. He signs up for PMP training and, just a few months later, he's certified. But here's the funny part. Armed with his brand new project management certification, he gets hired as an operations manager. Not exactly what he planned for, right? But that military instinct to adapt and overcome just kicked in, and he absolutely thrived. And this experience taught him another huge lesson. A great military record and a fancy degree, they get you noticed, but they don't always get you hired. The corporate world has its own gatekeepers, and certifications are the key. Your network can open the door, but it's your qualifications that get you through it. So, okay, he's found his footing, he's figured some things out. But the journey was far from over. The corporate world has its own kind of turbulence, and he was about to fly right into it. After a few good years, he felt like he'd finally reached a steady state. But then, in 2013, he got introduced to a harsh new word, restructuring. Suddenly, everything was different, and any idea of permanent stability was just gone. That turbulence taught him something vital. To survive, you have to stay relevant. So he made a new personal mission for himself. Get at least one new industry certification every single year. It was all about staying ahead of the curve. Later on, he moved to another company as an operations head. And just when he was getting settled, Murphy's Law decided to show up. His new company sold off some of its assets, and because of an overlap in roles, his job was terminated. Just like that. A stark reminder that some things are totally out of your control. So this whole phase taught him that the idea of a steady state is basically a myth. You can't just learn a bunch of stuff and then coast. The reality is you have to keep learning because the market is always changing. And while hard work is valued, at the end of the day, it's the results that matter. So, after 18 years of highs, lows, and just constant adaptation, let's distill all of this down. What are the key takeaways for anyone who's about to start this journey themselves? Okay, here it is, the cheat sheet. Expect a bumpy ride. Your military skills are the foundation, but you gotta build corporate skills on top. Your network opens doors, but qualifications get you inside. And maybe most importantly, stay agile, stay relevant, and never, ever stop learning. And that brings us right back to the beginning, doesn't it? The Forces Network is such a focused community. By sharing real stories just like this one, they're guiding and mentoring hundreds of officers into their own successful corporate careers. It's a really incredible, noble endeavor. Lieutenant Colonel Bhatt's journey is it's a powerful roadmap of lessons that he had to learn the hard way. And it leaves us with one final, really important question for anyone thinking about taking this path. What will be your first lesson on the civil street?